Saw an apparition with my wife that was totally black but in a dark room at night. Was in a place called Sportive Kings Motel near Rotorua NZ. It caused me to wake up by pulling the sheets at the foot of the bed. My wife saw it first. I got up quickly to see what it was, and it seemed to walk off quickly and go through doors without opening them. I never realized there was a door there when I followed its movement and was wondering how it was possible to walk through a glass door. Nothing was to be seen after about 5 seconds.
I rented a house many years ago. I chalked it up to pre-sleep hallucination. Now I am not so sure. I also stayed at a rented apartment. This was a bad time in my life. And there were a couple events that I never could explain. Our dog woke us both up one night, barking like crazy at the air in front of the foot of the bed. And then a few days later, the automatic light inside the pantry closet came on at 2 a.m. I was completely creeped out.
My mother talked about seeing shadow people from her peripheral vision. My father said he would have things go missing and find them days later in another part of the apartment. One time his wallet went missing from his dresser, and he found it 4 days later in my closet. Of course I was blamed for it. The only thing that saved me was I was gone that week at the beach in another state. One thing the three of us noticed in our 12 years in the apartment was people who lived next door to us didn't seem to stay very long, and the ones who did stay would have a huge personality change. One family that moved in had a daughter a few years older than me. After a year or so, they started having problems and fought all the time. The wife left and took the kid. Husband was so depressed he tried killing himself. Second long-term tenants were a childless couple. After months of moving in, husband became extremely abusive to the wife, and in return she was just as hostile. Cops were always called. They were still there when my parents and I moved out. Growing up, my parents fought all the time as well, but never to the extent as the neighbors. My parents and I think whatever was in our apparent would go back and forth between our apartment and next door.
They say that if there's poltergeist activity, it'll increase when a child starts to enter into the adolescent stage, simply because when you're a child, you're very innocent, but still impressionable. When you reach adolescence, you're at a crossroad between to stay innocent and humble, or to go down a darker path. Poltergeist activity, as well as paranormal entities, who don't have best interests at heart, tend to go after the adolescents to influence them. When I got older and paranormal activity as well as other people's experiences became somewhat of the norm and was not so hidden, I decided to do a lot of research. My childhood experiences as well as preteen experiences left me wondering why I was experiencing so much as a child and a preteen. I also did a very dumb thing a few years prior to my move from that apartment, and I used a Ouija board, because in my dumb preteen mind, I wanted answers right then and there. Knowing what I know now, I should have never done that because the activity just increased way more than what it already was as I got older.
I'm going through stuff right now with my daughter, who is 10 myself, and my son, who is 15. My father, who has been Christian his whole life, and didn't believe, not so much didn't believe, but didn't. Yeah, he didn't believe in that stuff. He was a skeptic, and after what we've gone through, jolted, up to a 10 out of 10 and believing. My son was at the house by himself with my daughter, babysitting for a few hours. Well, I went out, and he called me and had me race home, because he said he was whistling, and he heard a whistle that wasn't the same sound as his out of my room. Turned and seen a white girl face duck behind an art drawer organizer thing that wouldn't hide a person. My daughter has heard, "Don't go from the middle of the steps," when she would go to my mom's. And then a couple hours later, my son, who didn't even know about it, heard you let her leave, you will hear footsteps. Run down after you've already gone down the stairs, and there's so much more. My daughter's seen a face duck from her closet.
Had a night in a small town. Walked past a friend's grandma's house at around 2 a.m. Every light was on and every door in the entire house and disconnected garage were wide open. We started to approach the front door and a single woman stepped out into the doorway. Was all white, no face. Me and 4 other friends all saw the same thing. We ran away at full speed. When we all stopped about a half block away, we could hear what sounded like a pig following us down the road. No pig in sight. Gave it 10 to 20 minutes and gained the courage to return to the home, only to realize there was no lights and the whole home was closed up. Still one of the strangest experiences I've ever had. Was one of 2 experiences involving this all-white woman in the same town. Late at night,